listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Falling Skies After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Falling Skies After Show.
Hey everybody, Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another episode of Falling Skies, Season 2, Episode 8, Death March, with the ominous music in the background.
Yes. Very appropriate.
I am Tamara Berg. I'm joined in studio by...
Hi, I'm Derrial, Christon.
Hi, I'm Sofia, Stanley.
And we have a very special guest in the studio with us tonight. We have Peter Shinkoda, who plays Di on Falling Skies. Thanks for being here with us, Peter.
Thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm good.
Well, we're so excited that you're here. We want to get right into the show. So let's first talk about, there was so much about this episode to talk about, and through the whole thing, I just felt incredibly tense. Did anybody else share that?
I was on the edge of my seat the entire time.
You know
I mean, that's kind of the tone of the show to begin with, but this episode.
And specifically, I think last episode, the title was so fitting. Mm-hmm. So the fact that the title was Death March, I was, from the minute I knew the title, I was tense because I was really thinking, oh my goodness, they're on the way to Charleston. They're going to get captured and they're going to have to do a death march. And so I really literally thought it was the end. So the entire episode, that's where I was emotionally.
For sure.
I was ready for them to reveal so many things that we saw tonight. I mean, there was so much about characters that was revealed tonight, and with the storyline. This has been actually one of my favorite episodes this season.
And this is the run up to the finale. We're getting they're laying the groundwork so that we can see all the murder, death, and destruction that's coming our way in 2 more hours. Yeah. I'm scared. I'm just going to say it. I'm scared. So let's talk first about Weaver and Tector, okay? They were in the van together the whole way. Interesting, just by the way, they weren't doing a lot of active, running and jumping and doing that sort of thing, but they were revealing a lot about their character, like they say, and it was still absolutely so interesting, which is, again, one of those things that I love about the show. They did a great job of, as they say in the writing world, covering the exposition with life, covering it with life. So there were things always going on. We weren't getting bored with the fact that they were talking a lot and giving us a lot of information. Mm-hmm. So Weaver ferrets out from Tector that he is a military guy.
Right. Yeah, they started speaking about, well, Weaver was very aware of everything with Tector. It seemed like his words that he was using, just his military background, he kind of started pulling that out of him. Yeah. And I loved the interaction between the two because it really showed a different side of Tector that we've seen. I at beginning, I thought Tector was kind of like the loose cannon of the group, and come to find out, he actually is one of the people that can really help the Second Mass move forward. So I love the interaction between the two.
Because of the fact that he's military.
Because he's military, yes.
Yeah. But then again, and I'll be honest with you, I have a bias, so I have a bias towards Marines. Mm-hmm. I think also, too, if you think about the Marines in relationship to the rest of the military, they are the berserkos. Right. They are the ones who go in, and they go in knowing potentially that they could die. They're the ones who do things that other people aren't willing to do. Right. And so I think that given his military training, but given his courage, that's why Captain Weaver knew he was a Marine. And that's why he said what he said. He was like, oh, a jarhead couldn't do that. And the quickness with which, Tector amped up, that was what a Marine would do. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we're smart and we're rugged and hello, we're berserkos. Yeah. So I thought it was fitting. I think, if he was any other branch of the military, that wouldn't have made sense to me.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
And then we got to see the compassion side as well, because obviously Weaver, he's the strong leader, but we've also seen in the past couple episodes with his daughter and with the relationship with Tom, his softer side. And Tector showed it tonight as well, because of the fact that he was showing, hey, he blamed himself for some of his men dying. He blamed himself for Boone's death. So it was nice to see that transition from what the character was developed like at the beginning of the episode.
Well, and it was one of those things that really only two military guys could understand. You've got to have another serviceman who's been in the similar situation to be able to relate to that kind of scenario and the guilt that comes with that. Yeah. So Tector, we learn, is a gunnery sergeant, so clearly has a lot of skills that are, oh my God, going to come in handy. I know. In the next couple of episodes. Can you tell us anything, Peter?
I cannot.
That's why we don't even ask.
I thought maybe I'd get.
Let's try to read his face. Don't look him in the eyeballs.
You just have another week's wait.
No, I know. You're right. That's true. We just need to, and then we're going to have months to wait for the next season, but that's okay. We're not going to talk about that yet. We're not there yet.
It's funny though, but this is actually, seeing how I'm like the warmonger, this was actually one of the only times where there was a moment when Weaver was pushing him and Weaver was like, you kill them, that I really was like, Weaver, what are you doing? Yeah. And I really thought he was pushing him too hard. And then even before that, I thought, every man has a right not to identify his past because at the end of the day, you don't know why he's making the decisions that he made. But then I quickly got bounced back to reality that we're in war. So we don't have the luxury of time. We don't have the luxury to heal. And we'll talk about it with some other characters a little bit later. But whatever skill sets that anyone has, we have to use it full out. Yeah. So get over what you're going through. We need you. You're a gunnery sergeant. You did 2 tours, Iraq and Afghanistan. Yeah. I didn't know that. Now I'm putting you in a different position because we need you because we're at war.
Yeah. And I have different expectations of you now as well.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. So I thought it was a pivotal because I think, again, we're always playing with that duality of normal life and kind of the ease of dealing with people and allowing them time to deal with whatever they're dealing with versus the fact that we're at war, so everything is urgent and everything has to be done when it needs to be done. And whatever skill you have, buck up. We need to use it and keep it moving.
Yeah, and also, not to interject with you, but also with Tector, I mean, his intentions were to drop them off at Charleston and then go off on his own. But I mean, in this environment, how far would he really have gotten by himself? I mean, even with all of that type of military background that he has, he needs that group. They need to be together, I think.
Right, because they have resources that are better combined than one person being on their own.
Yeah. So he should, I wanted him to stay with them. So I'm glad that Weaver was able to kind of break him down, which I agree with you, Sofia. At first I was like, where is he going with this? I mean, is he blaming him? And then the reveal was great.
I agree, Derrial.
Yeah. Why don't you do a little business?
Oh, how about? Well, are we going to do Amazon first?
Yeah.
And the reason that I'm so excited is the only reason you should not be watching our AfterBuzz recap show live right now, the absolute only reason is because you should be watching the Olympics. If you're not watching the Olympics, then you must be on literally another planet. And if you can see, I'm wearing green. I'm not going to tell you what country that is, but we won 2 medals for sprinting yesterday, 2 medals for sprinting today. It was like a lightning bolt. It was so electric, but I'll stop. But seriously, one of the amazing things that we have here at AfterBuzz is obviously everybody shops, right? So I shop for this t-shirt and, sometimes I love to go and I shop on Amazon.com. Now, what you can do for us as absolute super fans is instead of going directly to Amazon.com, you can go to our website, which is AfterBuzzTV.com. And we have our own little banner in the right-hand corner and it says Amazon. You just click on it and it takes you to the Amazon site that you know and love and you can just shop like you normally do. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, it gives us a little kickback and it allows us to do what we do, keep our lights on, have amazing guests like Peter Shinkoda. So what do? You go to AfterBuzzTV.com, you click on the Amazon banner, and then you can buy. So whether or not they're Puma gear from Team Jamaica, or anything else from the Olympics, or Team USA, or Team Canada, or whoever you're rooting for, because again, the Olympics is what? All about sportsmanship and honor. So it's no coincidence that, we're talking about Falling Skies, which again is what? All about honor.
Honor.
Yes, indeed.
So again, just go to AfterBuzz TV, click on Amazon, and shop.
It really helps us out. So thanks for doing that. Now, I kind of thought of this episode as sort of being the disillusionment and confession episode, because that was kind of going on with Tector and Weaver, with the confession and background coming out, and also Maggie and Hal, also Pope being involved in that part of it. So Pope, through the beginning of the episode, is teasing and kind of really goading Maggie about what's your past, we had it good together at one point, and this sort of thing, right? Rolling your eyes, I can see.
Well,
it.
I mean, she should have taken the gun. No, but she should have taken the gun and butt him just one time. Seriously, like, I'm kind of over him. Like, I really respect Pope, but seriously, she should just one time and then be like, okay, keep talking, dude. Keep talking.
Yeah. Exactly. But he's goading her on and saying, oh, you're in love with this Hellboy. You need to tell him what is going on in your background. You need to tell him where you've come from and what it is. She's pissed, but knows what he's talking about. We're finding out more, and then it comes out that when she got out of the hospital, she didn't know what was going on. She didn't know how to deal with anything. Got into drugs, started robbing houses with a bunch of bad people, eventually ended up in prison, had a baby. Bam, her whole life in 10 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was not expecting that. I mean, we obviously had Sarah Carter, who plays Maggie, in the studios several weeks back, and she did not give us any kind of reveal of that storyline.
Just like you, keeping her mouth closed.
Exactly. And it threw me off. I mean, I didn't expect that from her. But on the flip side, I was happy that she didn't say that the baby was Pope's.
Yes.
Because I think that would have been a more difficult thing to have Hal get over on this show.
Yes, indeed. But Hal was really seriously affected by this information, She was doing drugs, she was committing crimes, she was a wild child, and pickings are slim on planet Earth right now. I guess you gotta forgive people. Am I right?
And I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, boo-hoo, big deal. And I don't mean it like it sounds, but it's like, it's the end of the world, right? So again, I thought that the scene was amazing because, again, it showed how naive Hal is. Seriously. Like, she obviously had a life before you. She keeps saying things that we can't be together. We can't be together obviously has to be more than simply just their age difference, right? Number one. Number two, and I'm not sure if Sarah Carter, when she was here on the show, alluded to this, but she kind of did. She made clear that Maggie has always been a fighter. It wasn't simply because she, beat cancer. There was something there that was a little bit bad, right?
Yes.
Obviously, for her to have been able to survive with the Berserkos in the manner that she did, that's a completely different survival instinct. There's a mechanism, and that's why Pope always kept saying to her, you're like us. You're like us has to mean that she was like them from beforehand, and that's somehow why they banded together. As well as the fact that, and again, maybe I'm the bad one, I would have preferred if she went one step further and had killed somebody. So she was on drugs. She had a bout with cancer. And then
she committed crimes,
went to prison, served her time. The baby, that's a different situation. But there's nothing she did to me in this grand scheme of their conversation just before, like whether or not Hal's capable of killing someone. Murder and robbery are just, especially in this world of we're literally fighting for our survival. I kind of was like, okay, cool, she's not perfect, and
so that's
I was over it. It wasn't that big of a deal to me.
So that's how you're saying Hal should have reacted. Or not should have, but you suggest that maybe that.
I think he reacted properly because I think he's naive, and I think that scene was necessary to show how naive and the fact that he really is a child. He's not an adult. I think that an adult's reaction would have been a little bit different. An adult's reaction would be, oh my God, how are you? Like, oh my God, how was that? Not like, oh, I need a minute to get over that. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful by my voice, but I think he acted like a 16-year-old.
Well, I think he handled it appropriately. I mean, kind of what you're saying is that all that happened in her past. It was before she met Hal. So, at the end of the day, it had nothing. She was being honest with him, which he has to appreciate. And then, once again, those things happened in the past. So it has nothing to do with where they're at this point in their relationship right now.
So do you think Hal's going to be able to get over it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he was over it by the end of the episode. I think he was ready to move on.
Yeah. I just didn't think it was that big of a deal. I think I needed bigger.
Do you like the bad boys?
No, I needed I needed badder from her.
Right.
Yeah. I like badass chicks.
Yeah. I know.
And quiet badasses too.
Well,
I
speaking
like
of,
how you guys never get my joke.
No,
It's
I
okay.
get it.
Hopefully
No.
Peter got it.
I get it. But speaking of badass chicks, as we were talking about Sarah and some of the other cast members we've had on the show, Brandon Jay, if you've missed any of the episodes, please go to iTunes.com where you can download all the previous episodes. As we mentioned today, we're on episode 8, so there are plenty more that you can go look back and see all of the conversations that we've had to describe the episodes. So go to iTunes.com, download the episodes. You can also rate and comment for us. Tell a friend. We love the ratings and the comments. We read them right before the show. I read them every day actually. And text these guys and tweet them about them. So please go to iTunes.com, rate and comment for us, and download all the previous episodes.
Okay, let's talk about Charleston. How is Charleston, Peter?
Never been there myself. I mean, the closest we got was that overpass that was obliterated. That was someplace outside of Vancouver, but that was it. I mean, there was nothing. We're staring off into I think railroad tracks or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a
Turned out
lot
pretty
of
cool,
wreckage
yeah.
and scariness. In that scene where was that all CG?
Yeah, when it was
Okay.
over our shoulders, looking off into the distance, that was nothing. It was just fields. I think there was a highway, maybe a few hundred yards beyond, but
Okay.
we were on an intact bridge, and then they just built up that rubble, and they shot it from the incline over the bridge at us, and then they just eliminated the whole ramp up there. Turned out pretty good.
It did. It looked really
It looked
good. It looked very ominous. So one of the things that I loved about this scene was how they did the smash cut. So we had Maggie and Hal driving at night. The lights come up, they stop, and then they do a smash cut to Weaver and Tector daytime in a truck.
Yeah.
What? I just thought that was incredibly effective and jarring, and it created a lot more questions than it answered, which I love
did.
about this show. I think it's a great device that they use in the show quite frequently, actually, the not answering of questions. So Charleston, we've been hearing about it for weeks and weeks. Sofia, if I remember correctly, you think Charleston's full of crap. Is that right? From the very beginning.
Yeah.
There's a theme tonight with you, Sophia. What's going on?
Well, no, I mean, and this is a thing too, and again, I think that the episodes are so perfectly titled, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And so in hindsight, now I completely understand Death March. Part of what has to happen is one of two things in war, and usually at the same time. It's a physical assault and a mental assault, right? Arguably, the second mass and the resistance movement has actually been somewhat either winning or matching toe-to-toe the physical assault. Everyone thought that they should be done, right? And theoretically, they actually got to Charleston without any losses of life other than the person who was suffering from
patient.
dehydration.
Yeah, the patient.
Exactly,
Yep.
right? The only other tactic, which we saw in the last episode when they shot Boone, was psychological. To me, this entire episode, the fact that we were tense, it's psychological torture. The fact that
Yes.
presumably nothing happened, psychological. The fact that they got there and it seemed as if there was no Charleston, psychological. And then to be revealed, oh my goodness, there really is a Charleston, then your hopes go back up for something to happen.
That's true.
Peter, I see reactions on your face. What can you tell us that you're thinking about right now?
She's just feeding into everything the writers want.
Oh, good.
I'm just getting a little amusement and listening to how it affects you guys, and and I know what happens.
Of
so I'm
course.
like, yeah, it's
So
great.
the manipulation, well, that's kind of a strong word, but I mean that's what they're
I
doing.
like
Their
that word.
manipulation.
Manipulation,
Yeah,
it's great.
the manipulation is
Yeah.
absolutely working, and we're buying it hook, line, and sinker.
Totally.
Okay, fantastic.
I mean, when Hal and Maggie were in the truck with Pope and they got pulled over, I actually thought that it was the Skitters. I mean, did
That's what
anyone
I
else?
thought too.
I thought the Skitters or the mechs were coming after them, and it was about to be World War after this. So that was my first initial reaction, and then the revealing that they actually were at Charleston, and it was as we said, the lollipops and gummy bears towards the end. It was an interesting twist. To see where it's gonna go in the next couple of weeks.
But it did go. We're going to Charleston. Oh crap, that's Charleston. Oh my God, strawberries.
Also, what leader of the Continental Army is walking around with strawberries in a
Bag of
plastic
strawberries.
bag? I need like a button.
Yeah,
Like, no,
yeah,
that
yeah.
makes no like, of all things, even if he had M&Ms, that would make more sense. No, seriously, like, you could arguably carry candy or raisins or nuts as a soldier. Strawberries in a plastic bag.
Right.
Hell to the no!
Thank you, Marissa. Thank you. In the booth, they're always on point.
But see, I took it differently. I took it as like fruit, strawberries, apples, oranges, that type of thing is something that is the epitome of American culture. You know, going to the South. It's fresh. It's fresh product. It's something that you're like, wow, I can get fruit, and it just.
And again, and I agree with you, and I think that's exactly why I didn't buy it.
That's why
it's playing into the psychological nature of who we are, that we're like, oh my God, it really is going to be great. All those things that they wanted it to be. And ironically, that's when Tom was on the medical bus, Tom's not listening to himself. What he said, it was relevant. He goes, I wanted it to be true. He's like, I can't believe that this isn't real. But what he was really saying is, I knew it wasn't real. I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be isn't in line with who he is. Who he is a historian. Where are you going to have the end of the world, and in the midst of all of this, where you have a civilization that has technology above and beyond your own, that you really legitimately think that you could hide out anywhere in a country of 3,000 miles coast to coast, number one. Number two, again, I'm not that familiar with the topography of Charleston. It's not like it's mountains. It's not like you can hide. Like, and ironically, that's why when they were going to haul up for the winter in the Appalachian Mountains, that made sense. Technically, for military reasons, yes, it may have been tough on the second mass, but really? No, it doesn't make sense. And they keep feeding that even though they know. That's why when they got there, they were disillusioned, but they actually weren't surprised.
Absolutely. True. Absolutely. And you know, just to talk about the real specifics of strawberries. I have not been drinking today. I just want to say it's been a long week though. It's Sunday. Strawberries. Okay, so apples travel better.
Yep.
But it takes 6 months, a year to create an apple. It takes a few weeks to make strawberries.
Oh.
So that's maybe the thought behind it. You can actually grow something that quickly. But fragile, they're mush by the time they get to everybody else. But the idea is that they're sort of kernels of hope. You know,
it's just a calling card. It's a business card. Yeah. And, you know, it suggested that we have the technology and, you know, the facilities to you know, hydroponically grow these strawberries. It'll be explained next week.
Okay.
We're sure.
I should have said that.
I'm like,
I
a
like
reveal.
that
There's a
you
little
said
reveal there.
that. So hydroponically grown,
right? Or
it will be
something,
explained next
maybe.
week or something.
Maybe.
Okay. Keep going.
And that to me is Skitter technology. Sorry. I just like throwing out a wide girth of predictions, so that one of my predictions comes true.
Well, it's so hard to tell with this show where it's going because we do follow along. We always have differing views of some sort because Steve's not with us. Hi, Steve. Sorry, Steve's not with us this week. He'll be with us next week. But there are always differing opinions within the panel, and far-reaching opinions, because that's one of the great things about Falling Skies is that they create opportunities where the story really could go a lot of different ways. So Charleston is great. Charleston is not. Yes, Charleston is back, but you think Charleston is?
No, because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
like it just doesn't make any kind of sense. And part of me feels like, again, Weaver should know better. Yes, sometimes you need to rest. Like, you know, even in the military, you have time off. But what are you resting for? The aliens are going away.
There's work to do.
There's still work to do. So the fact of the matter is, going to somewhere that is in fact a paradise, all it does is make people weak. All it does is potentially make people think that they're back to normal. When people are back to normal, they don't fight like they should.
Yeah, they get complacent.
They become very complacent. And I know this may not be the time period, but I think it does speak to disillusionment. The fact that you have, and I can't remember, how is he 9?
Matt
is 9. Yeah. The fact that you have a 9-year-old writing a last will and testament, that shows the nature of where they are. The fact that he then so quickly, you know, gives it to his father, and his father was like, what are you doing this for? Okay, draw something. And he switches. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Because even though they're in war, there is a certain aspect of normalcy, but you have to be able to switch it on and off really quickly. Why? Because at the end of the day, he may be 9, but his gun is right next to him. So when the Jenny character comes into play and Jenny wants to leave, and he basically doesn't want her to leave because he sees her as a potential friend, he sees her as a peer, he sees her as his brother leaving again, he physically gets up to stop her. That makes sense to me because of the state that they're in. If they all of a sudden go to a Charleston and everything's perfect, you won't have that readiness. And all you have to do is have Charleston, and then the Skitters can just go.
Well, and never mind the fact that Charleston just makes for bad TV. There's no conflict there. Nobody's going to watch him hang out in Charleston at the spa.
Well, I
So
agree.
there.
I agree with you 50%. I agree with you in reference to Matt, but I don't agree with you with Weaver. I think Weaver is very well aware of everything that's going on. I think that as a leader, he needs to make sure that he continues to give his people hope, and he knows that. For people to continue to move forward and be motivated, it can't be all negative. You can't just give them all of the negative information. You have to be able to give them something of positive and something of hope to look for. I mean, that's human nature. So I agree with you on a portion of that, but I think Weaver is very well aware of everything that, not thinking that everything is so perfect in Charleston.
Yeah,
You're disagreeing with me. I see it.
I am.
I don't really have an opinion necessarily about that, but I think it's a good point that you're making, because he's got a lot going on in his head, and we don't know where it's going, really. Yeah. We don't. Let's talk a little bit more about Matt and Jenny. The journal came up. He was writing in his journal. She wrote that, maybe I'll stay. Did we all notice that the journal was off to the side and got brought back to him? I think there's a message in that journal from Jenny. Yes? Anybody else pick that up?
Oh, I didn't pick that part up.
Yeah. Peter, you're nodding.
I was thinking the same thing. As I was a fan watching it, it kind of was suggestive of something like that. But you're gonna have to wait to find out.
Right, okay, I'll stop asking those kind of questions. But it just seemed to me like it was very purposeful that it was off to the side and then brought to him. So I think that there's something that's going to be happening with that. Poor Matt, he's going through so much. He's 9 years old. He's losing his family. He's getting his family back. We don't know where Ben is. He finally finds a friend. He's trying to hang on to that because she does represent Ben for him. But the conversations that they were having about her, again, with being part of the family when we were joined, she said.
With the Guardians.
The Guardians.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. How that got me.
I did have a question with the Guardians. No, the Guardians were in reference to the Skitters, correct? Okay, so that's what they were calling. I just want to make sure that was clear.
Remember when there was that one scene a few episodes ago where they were found, the harnessed kids were found sleeping in circles, and then there was one of the Skitters who would be over them, kind of comforting them and mothering them, really, is what it looked like. So that's what she was referring to.
Okay.
And it was creepy.
Well, she did reveal that her Skitter guardian was a woman or a female.
I agree.
So, Peter, I have a question for you. This has been a debate for us several weeks now. Are Skitters male or female? Are they? We've got to reveal tonight that there are a portion that are females, but what is their sex?
I think, because I've seen them up close, I think as the whole process takes over, eventually their genitalia just dries up and falls off and you become like an alien hermaphrodite.
Okay.
Really.
So we weren't far
I
off.
don't know.
Okay.
I mean, they discussed it, I think, in the second hour of this season when there was just one of these long shots where Maggie and Hal were talking about Skitter reproduction and coitus. So they didn't have an answer, but we're out there wondering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we were in line with that, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. But poor Matt. Poor Matt.
Yeah.
And his will. I think we should next go to our commercial, Marissa, so we can talk to Peter, because he's been too quiet and we really need to talk to him and about him.
Hey there, good buddies. The handle's Woolly Bear. I'm a truck driving man, but I'm not that old school kind of truck driving man, no. I like to listen to podcasts while I'm driving through these great United States of ours. And my favorite podcasts in the world are from AFTERBUZZ TV. And why? Because AFTERBUZZ TV is like a post-game wrap-up show for all your favorite TV shows, like Jersey Shore, Dancing with the Stars, Mad Men, and a whole truckload more. I like listening to my Gossip Girl podcast, catching up with all my fellow fans and getting all the latest news and gossip. No, I got some strong opinions. And AfterBuzz TV lets me share those opinions with thousands of other listeners. Woo-wee, what a feeling. I used to doze off on those lonely stretches of road. And don't worry, I got the cruise control. But now I'm wide awake and listening to all the AfterBuzz TV goodness. Check them out, give them a holler, and tell them the old Woolly Bear sent you.
And we are back. And just reminding you, we are in the studio with Peter Shinkoda, who plays Dai on Falling Skies. And now we are going to talk all about you, mister.
Oh God! All right, get ready. Let's do this.
Get ready. Get ready. You have quite a resume and are quite. I actually would sort of categorize you as a Renaissance man. Would you categorize yourself as that?
I would like to think that.
Yeah.
I've been called it before, but you know,
because
you just can't do everything. Oh, you talking about my resume? You're talking about my personal life.
Well, you're an actor. Mm-hmm. You also came out of post production. You studied and worked in post production at one point. You're a pianist.
Yeah.
What else have I missed?
Played a lot of sports.
Oh, played a lot of sports.
Played a lot of sports, hockey predominantly, and football. When I was a child, I really suck at basketball.
Well,
why'd I look at her? I don't even know why.
Because I'm team. No, that and for basketball, we're Team USA.
Yeah, no, I'm the worst at basketball. Yeah, I can do a few things, you know.
And you're from Canada.
I am.
Montreal, right?
Montreal.
I love that city.
Oh, it's the greatest. It's the greatest. I miss it so much. I really do.
How long have you been here in LA?
I first moved here in '93, and I lived here till around the millennium. Then I went and spent about 7 years up in Vancouver. I was coming back and forth, but I went up there, and I was finding a lot of success in acting. So I found it difficult to make another permanent move back. Mm-hmm. But since we started shooting this, it was easy to come back, and I'm based out of here, but they keep shooting us up back to Canada.
Yeah,
they're pulling a lot of you Canadian actors for this show.
Yeah. It just happened that way. I don't know if it was like a deal kind of issue, deal memo issue, or whatnot. But there's so much talent up there.
Yeah.
Certainly in Vancouver, a lot of us. A lot of the cast members do double duty between Canada and the United States.
Yeah,
we're always going back and forth.
And now, so, Tamara mentioned that you come from a civil engineering background, and then you went into post-production. Tell us a little bit how you got on Falling Skies. Like, how did you get the script? Did you audition, send in a tape? How did it all work out from the beginning?
I've told this a couple times, but I'll put it out there once and for all. I got to. I had a manager. I have a manager, Danielle Dell, and she called me up and asked me if I had read for something called the untitled Steven Spielberg Alien Invasion pilot, also known as a few other things. And I told her I hadn't heard about it, but the breakdown had come out maybe 30 days previous to her mentioning it to me. And I couldn't believe it because, it said an Asian guy, commando, athletic, martial arts ability. I'm like, well, what are you going to do? Wushu against the Skitter?
Right.
So it had all that. I think I fit the criteria. So she called the two casting directors. One was based out of Toronto. Another one was the Hollywood one, Deborah Zane. They refused to see me because it was so late in the game. We were going to shoot maybe in a week in Toronto, and they said we cannot. We're about to, offer to two of our top choices. So at this point, it was in mid-afternoon. She said, "Just hold your horses, Pete. I'm going to call Leslie Feldman over at DreamWorks. She's DreamWorks Studio casting, head of casting." And my manager explained to her who I was, and she said, "Okay, they're a personal friend." She goes, "I'm going to shoot over the material. I need your guy to, put everything on tape in the next hour or so." So I did, and moments later, my manager called me up and said that Leslie Feldman was ecstatic with my audition. So she called off the offers for these two other actors, and this was a Wednesday afternoon. And she said she was going to put it, throw it by all the producers and the network and stuff. And within 48 hours, Friday morning, I got a call, and there was an offer from TNT. And Steven had seen the audition, and Leslie was standing beside him, and he literally thought, "That's it," said, offer it to him. And I was ready when I got that call. I was ready, packed, because I was actually in Vancouver at the time. I was ready and packed to fly down immediately to do a screen test, because that's usually the process. And my manager said, "No, she's never seen that done, especially on a television series." And but she was happy, and she assured me that I had the job, and that Steven saw it and said, "That's it, that's in. We're signing off on the screen test." And I'm like, "Signing off? That sounds negative. What does that mean, signing off, right?" And she said, "No, that's it. He's waived it, and it's yours. Keep your bags packed. You're flying in a couple days to Toronto," and it was off.
Well, that must be a great feeling when Steven Spielberg sees you and signs off immediately.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Believe me, I crumpled to the floor and I collapsed to the floor. I think I cried a bit, and then I just started running around my room. I just started pacing back and forth. I literally did some Tom Cruise couch jumping,
Couch
and
jumping,
stuff
nice.
like that. Yeah.
Tough
So-
guy cry, though. Tough guy cry, for sure.
Yeah,
We understand.
yeah.
So as an actor, though, for you to obviously have really connected in a way that several other people probably have never been able to do, what did you do? Like, where did you go to be able to have Mr. Steven Spielberg go, okay, that's the guy?
That's our guy.
I don't know. I was just being myself. I think that like I possess a lot of this alpha male kind of quality. A lot of people think that I'm like really edgy and tough. Where people that really know me know that I'm a kitten.
The reveal.
But I just did a job. To tell you the truth, it was a very short audition. The material was only like 2 pages long, but most of the dialogue was Hal, Anthony, Click. From the pilot, Karen. So we're all standing there doing surveillance on that initial the warehouse in the pilot where I killed the Skitter and saved Tom. So we were doing some recon, and it was a big ensemble scene. And I literally, as you know, he's designed not to really talk. I literally had like one line, "I'm in, Tom," or something. So I really had to make something out of the material. So I hijacked everybody's lines. I left 1 or 2 to Hal, but I was playing everybody's lines. So that was the only way I kind of I can see that I might have pulled it off because of those choices that I made. But there wasn't that much material. A lot of it was like physicality, the intent in my eyes and stuff. And I had a whole bunch of like little toys that were out of frame, and I was clicking them, giving myself some business, making it look like I was packing bags or filling up a magazine or something. And it really sold, and it turned out to be a pretty good audition. But once the show started and I was getting the scripts, I realized that they were pretty consistent with the minimal dialogue. Because, it was explained to me that was a part. And I actually said, a man of very few words, doesn't talk much, but effective in the field. A great combatant. That was the breakdown for that.
So really, it comes down to, do you have a presence? Can you convey that presence? That sort of thing. And so clearly
right,
you
I
can.
think that I don't really have to try. I just think that people think that I have some kind of a toughness, that kind of quality to me. So really, I was just cocking guns, pointing, and looking focused, and looking like I was brave enough to go in and become go into the front lines and be that guy. So I think it's sold. Maybe one day it'll leak out there, that audition. Who knows? I haven't bought the Blu-ray first season, so are there auditions on there?
No.
No. Okay.
I've seen it, and no,
Good.
there aren't.
Good.
It's not on there, I'll tell you for sure.
good.
Now, you shot a lot of season 2 at night.
90% of it, yeah.
How was that, having a graveyard shift job as an actor?
I really have a bizarre kind of schedule myself, so it really didn't affect me, this whole night shoot kind of thing. But to tell you the truth, it was rough on most of the cast, and certainly the crew who were out there and to do they sacrifice so much more. We were comfortable in our trailers, but these guys are out there in the elements, just working day and never off their feet. These people, they're incredible. So we shot a lot at night, but to tell you the truth, Vancouver in the winter is it's like the dark side of the moon anyways. It really, really is. It lacks sunlight.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of precipitation. Then you get the temperature drop. So that all added to the discomfort. But, still great gig. It's fun. I mean, it just lends to the realism of, of the show. So we enjoyed it. We all hated the Fridays, though. They'd always schedule Fridays, the Friday shoot to start maybe, mid-afternoon. We have to show up on set. That's our call time. But we'd be getting out, I think, I worked every Friday, I think, for 5 months. And we'd start maybe, I'd arrive on set maybe at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's already dark.
Yeah.
Because really, if it was a sunny day, it would be sunny around 8, and then it would be pitch black at like 4 anyways.
Yeah.
But 90% of the time it's raining all day, so it's dark all the time, So we would start on Friday, maybe, mid-afternoon. We'd always wrap around 6, 7 when the sun is supposed to come up on a Saturday morning. And then Monday we would always start early again. So, there goes our whole weekend.
Very short
shot.
weekend, yeah.
Well, with shooting at night and the physicality of the show, have you had a lot of injuries on the show?
I haven't. No, there was. I did have an injury this season. Actually, I got bitten by a pit bull.
Whoa.
You know, yeah, it was strange. I called the production once. That was my only injury this season. You know, little pit bull bite came and lunged at me and
on
cut
the
my
set
chin.
during.
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
Like I talked to Noah. He called me. He goes, "What? This the dog you got loose, went rampant on the set and bit your face or something?" Good one. No, it didn't happen quite like that. It had nothing to do with the production. So that was my only injury. Other than that, you know, I was aching a lot from you know the few stunts that I did this season. You know, I'm feeling my age. And,
well, and that must be tough in the cold, damp weather too. I mean, it's just not really conducive for keeping your body
certainly,
ready to
especially
go.
at like 4 in the morning and you know at hour 17, you know, then it starts getting, you know, pretty tough. And by the end of the show, by the 9th and 10th episode, you know, I think we're all ready to kind of, you know, wrap it up because we could see the ending, you know, and we were pretty anxious because I think we had our fill by the end of, you know, the whole shoot. It was tough, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm only speaking for myself. I actually loved it. I love that stuff, you know. You're running around the woods. It doesn't get realer, you know. The experience of the simulated fighting, it can't be realer unless you're deployed to Afghanistan or something,
right.
you know. So it feels real. And you feel the heat, and you're running around and hitting your marks, and mortars are going by, and it's great, you know. There's fire and smoke machines, and everything's timed great. But when the camera's rolling, it really feels real because you feel the heat, you hear the guns and the chaos and you know, and the smoke machines, and it's great. It's great.
So you just burst my bubble. I was hoping that you were going to say that there were actors in the mech suits, but I guess it's all digitally put onto the screen.
Yeah,
it's all green screen.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, the mechs know they have like you know, these like. They got one of those, you know, the staff of raw kind of things, you know, like that, that Indiana. It's like a stick with a ball on top, so, you know, we kind of stared off in the distance at those things. And then, of course, we have the animatronic skitters that, you know, we can act up close and personal with. So, you know, there's a whole combination of things. I think they employ every device of, you know, filmmaking in the show.
Yeah.
And how much do you guys know in advance? Do you guys get an episode ahead? Do you know the entire story arc for the season?
Zero. We don't know. We don't know anything except for you know, the episode to episodes, the scripts. You know, we're all anxious to get the scripts, and you know, sometimes we might get them a couple weeks before. Sometimes we get them 2 days before shooting. You know, and it's a pretty frantic pace, but we aren't really told anything.
Well, and it sounds like that's an environment that you really thrive in. The energetic part of it, the fighting, the getting the scripts at the last minute. That you really thrive in that kind of situation. Is that true for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Specifically for me too, because you know I know my material and the energy of my material. It's really not dialogue driven. My stuff, you know, it's intent driven, and a lot of it is you know, action acting. So yeah, I get those, and you know, I dive in. But I feel very badly for, like, in fact, the scene, this massive scene that or scenes that Hal and Maggie were in. I think they got that script in a rewrite because she had monologues in the car, and he's just sulking and driving. But there was pages and pages, and I remember Drew and you know, Sarah were telling me they're about to shoot it, and like the next day, and she's like, "Oh my God, I got like 5 pages, and I just got it like 7 at night." I was like, "I feel so bad for you, you know. I gotta go. Let's go, you know, and walk off." She got 5 pages, and she's got to rock it the next morning, you know, and that's a huge.
It's intense.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know. I mean, it's like call us professionals, I guess.
Right.
But she rose to town. She did a great job. But I remember just feeling so bad for her to get that material, you know, and to somehow assume it into you and then do a great job that she did. It's you know, it's a great testament to what you know, responsible actors have to do.
Now, we only got to see you speak for a couple of lines in the end of the scene, but you did tease to us that we see more of you in the next 2 episodes. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Well, it's you guys are calling it 2 episodes, huh? Well, the 2-hour season finale.
We actually weren't sure of that. We were talking about that a little bit before. So it is a 2-hour season finale.
I believe so, but you know what?
They're naming it 2 different episodes. It's got each hour has a different name.
Yeah, definitely. But you know, the truth of the matter is, I think internationally they roll out the show
Separately?
differently. Yeah, sometimes they might split it up. I know that's a possibility. Yeah.
You mentioned a little bit earlier, I mean, we obviously know that you do a lot of action and stunts. Which set that you've worked on has been the most challenging? I know you have Falling Skies, obviously. You've worked on Mortal Kombat and Sanctuary. Which one is the most challenging out of those three?
Oh, definitely Falling Skies. Definitely Falling Skies, because it just gave me many days of shooting. These other ones you step on as a guest star or something, so you don't know. But this is like I've seen everything, all of it through the 2 seasons, and but also it's also the funnest.
Yeah.
I'm I'm one of the leads on the show. The other ones I was a guest star, so there's not that much emphasis put on me. But in the moments that I have. I love shooting Falling Skies. It's the greatest gig that I'll ever have, I think.
What's been your favorite episode this season?
Definitely hour two, because I get to be a badass again. I was firing that gun, which is it's definitely a universal male fantasy, shooting those big guns with the truck. And I did my little Taylor Lautner slide down the mountain there with the bazooka at the end, and so I enjoyed that. In a narcissistic way.
Now you obviously have done a lot of the acting roles. With your experience in post, do you have any desire to produce or direct things yourself, or plans to do that?
Yeah, I have desires, but I'm also not gonna blow wind up my own ass, and it takes a certain kind of a way of thinking and organizational skills that I probably don't have. Producing, directing is very difficult. Director is like a general on the field, and to coordinate and to get everybody on the same page it's a feat in itself. I'd be pretty arrogant to say that I'm prepared, I'm ready, and I should do it, and I will. And I thought about it, of course, but directors are gifted artists.
But do you think that because you do have that background, it makes you a better actor because you have a different respect for when you're told to do X, Y, or Z?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, definitely. I started to know angles, and I started to understand like the intimacy of like close-ups, and as opposed to the wider shots. When I worked at Warner Brothers for years, I got the the opportunity to watch the dailies of whatever show. They could be shooting like, I watched like a year and a half of Matrix dailies every day. I remember the first shot, take one, scene one, and I'd be watching the dailies for maybe an hour to 2 hours a day for years. So I started to really scrutinize, each take, and it kind of it revealed to me a whole new world of acting, in the sense that it's so raw, with the raw sound and the raw picture, that without the music, post-production, the pace, with the cutting and stuff, it just seems almost like home movies. And then I realized that it's kind of like a puzzle, and it's just a small little contribution, a small little moment, even just a look or something, or a half a page of dialogue on one reverse shot. I started to realize that all you got to do is be kind of aware of that, deliver there, and then everybody else, all the puzzle pieces will fall into place, because it's a collaborative effort. The only singular effort is, as an actor, you have that job to live that part, let yourself be filmed, and then everybody else has their responsibilities, and it all comes together. But I got to watch it and appreciate the acting more because of the dailies, definitely.
Yeah. Now, we're running a little low on time, so we need to talk about what are you doing now? What's happening next? Is it just all Falling Skies and vacation?
Right now, I'm looking to take a vacation someplace else, to tell you the truth. I've been doing this.
Go to Jamaica.
My publicists they're running me ragged, I'm like, oh man, I got to make the Playboy party. Like that's where I was last night.
I'm still very jealous.
Saw that on Twitter.
Yeah. So I went there, and it's everything that you'd expect it to be. I never been to that Midsummer Night's Dream party, but they're sending me lots of these events, and there's a lot of interviews. It's tough. And then season 3 is around the corner.
Yeah. When do you start filming season 3?
They say it's tentatively August 22nd back in Vancouver.
Oh, right, quick.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, between the first 2 seasons, there was a huge hiatus and a gap, and then, we got to get approval from and start crunching numbers and all that stuff. But, it's pretty much, it was a slam dunk on this one. They said, okay, let's do it. And, the time frame of the seasons is, we got to work it in. So now we're going to go into the spring, I guess, in season 3. So they got to, capture that kind of the warmer the milder weather of Vancouver.
Yay! for the actors, yay!
Yeah, I think that might get 1 week of sunshine.
Outside of Falling Skies, what would be your ultimate role that you'd like to play?
Maybe an Asian Han Solo kind of a guy, maybe. And
Well, there's room for that.
Fun.
There's room for
I
that.
like that.
yeah, I think Han Solo or Indiana Jones would be the coolest. I would love to be short round in the next Indiana Jones. All grown up.
There you go.
I like that.
There you go.
Get reunited with
That's
Indiana
right.
Jones.
Man, hey.
Oh, I like it. Let's
like
just
that.
put
I'd go
that out
see
in
it.
the ether.
I'd go see it.
Wouldn't that be great?
That's
Peter,
pretty
what
good.
is your Twitter handle?
I am at Peter Shinkoda.
How about that? Okay, we need to go to predictions. So, real quickly, predictions. Sophia, you're always great with them. What do you have?
Oh my goodness. Well, Charleston is a bust. I think that to piggyback on what Steve said probably a couple weeks ago, I think it is a reservation. I think that the fact that Tom has never revealed what happened on the ship, he never revealed that option. I think that is a viable option. I think that we forget that there are a multitude of harnessing capabilities. So simply because you don't have a harness on you doesn't mean you're not being controlled. And we've obviously seen other people being controlled. Somehow we're forgetting that. So I definitely feel that Charleston is a trap. I think that Charleston is obviously where certain people have chosen to go, but at the same time, it's unharnessed, harnessed individuals, and it's all gonna blow up. But I piggyback on my last prediction from last week. Ben is definitely going to come with the Skitter resistance and flank them, and then we're going to see what happens.
Okay, golly.
Wow,
Do you have any? I have nothing after that, do you?
You didn't think about this, though.
Mine is, let's see. I think that Maggie and Hal are going to go through some new obstacles that will jeopardize their relationship in the future. That's what I think.
Peter, what do you predict for the next 2 hours of Falling Skies?
I predict I'm not going to say anything. Plead the fifth. I cannot. We're ramping up for this. This is,
You are not succumbing to any of our charms. We
I
clearly
cannot.
are not very talented.
I cannot say anything.
I don't think I should be sitting across from him. I think you two ladies should have been sitting
Oh,
in
but
this
you know what, though? Can I say something real
Yes,
quick?
of course.
I'm going to watch this back, and because obviously his acting ability is so amazing, I'm going to watch it back, and all I'm going to do is turn the sound off and see if I can see what's going
Right.
on. That's what I'm going to do.
That's good. Well, as we all know, Brandon didn't tell us that he was dying the next
The
week.
next episode,
so
I know.
we have no idea what's going to happen with you. This is going to be very exciting.
That's
but
right. Oh, when Brandon was on, it was the week
before his
his
character died. Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right. The week before.
But we do know he's on season 3, don't we? That's it.
Can't say anything.
I'm sick of
Cannot
you.
say anything. Just toying with you guys.
Thank you for being with us. Derrial, can you give us your Twitter handle, please?
You can follow me, you can follow me at Derrial Christon, DerrialChrston.
Sophia.
You can follow me at Sofia Stanley.
And I am at Tamara Berg. Also, my website is tamaracentral.com. Also, follow our fabulous guest, Peter, at Peter Shinkoda on Twitter. Thank you so much for being
Thank
with
you,
us.
Peter.
It's been a delight, and we really appreciate it. Next time, bring a keyboard and play some music for us, in addition to the amazing acting abilities. And we look forward to you and Sarah doing some duets in the future.
Sounds good.
Yeah, right?
And you played in the new Indiana Jones as well.
Yes,
Yes,
short round on the new
yes.
Indiana Jones.
Stephen
Putting that out there.
George out there,
Stephen,
yeah.
tell him. We will see you all next week for Falling Skies. See you then.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.